so much of that damage is a real question. Here we go, Shadow Gyarados again to kick things off for game number 2. Joeddy going to bring the Corby Knight. The Corby Knight throwing resisted sand attack is not going to play favorably in this matchup. Obviously, it's going to be resisted Dragon Breath, but Dragon Breath going to do a little bit more damage. As you can see, the health bars already favoring Hdmvzkf, Gyarados, and first Aqua Tail is going to come through.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much this does. Gyarados, of course, very attack-weighted. Aqua Tail does take the Corviknight into the yellow, suggesting that another Aqua Tail would threaten the knockout. Air Cutter coming through here, of course. Actually, Hdmv does not shield that. It's not a payback, so that is a great call. And Gyarados able to hang on.
Oh!
Another catch from Joeddy, though.
Joeddy doing a great job absorbing all this resisted damage from Gyarados in both games 1 and game 2 on the Azumarill. It didn't pay off so much for him in the first game, but let's see if it does in this one or not, as Hdmv going to overfarm a bit. I like this play because the bubble's not going to do enough. Leave with the Aqua Tail so he could bank it for later. And of course, this entry's not going to go very far against the Empoleon. So really great plays from Hdmv to just leave with some of the entry despite being caught on earlier on Joeddy's Azumarill.
And I love that adjustment. That's something that Hdmv maybe realized he could have done in game 1, is farm up on the Gyarados before coming into the Empoleon. And I love that he realized that that's something he could do here in game number 2. Now, the downside is that the switch clock is going to be just a little bit more desynced. You see, Joeddy is going to be able to switch out very, very soon. So we'll have to see if he decides to do that.
And catches another resistant move. The Drop Egg is going to be absolutely huge for Joeddy. No surprise on how he was able to upset Marto Galde as he's trying to continue to force a game number 3 here in the winter semifinals. And now the payback has reached Hdmv. Do you spend the first shield on the Empoleon or not? And does make the last second call, makes the right call to shield the neutral payback, which would have definitely KO'd the Empoleon. Now he can overfarm quite a bit, almost at double. Oh, it catches the Air Cutter on the Gyarados. This is still neutral damage though, but you can see he's shaking his head a little bit. He has the energy. I don't think it KOs, and it doesn't. So Gyarados is going to be able to farm this down all the way, and he does. That's massive.
So much energy on Hdmv side. Remember, I think 2 charge attacks on the Empoleon, and I believe 2 Aqua Tails on this Gyarados as well. But just going to throw the crunch into this Azumarill, and you know, Joeddy again has the Licky in the back that's going to see the Furret, but this time, you know, Hdmv has a ton of energy on the Empoleon, so I have to imagine that's going to work in his favor.
And Joeddy does have that shield advantage, so it's still in some ways anyone's game, as now Hdmv is going to throw the Hydro Cannon at the Azumarill, maybe anticipating the potential catch, because this is going to be resisted. We're going to grab the first shield from Joeddy, so this is going to make the matchup in the back end, the normal versus normal type, a little bit easier for Hdmv. He opts to not shield, maybe trying to go for the aggressive Sucker Punch down, but you can see Joeddy trying to pivot over, and he does bring in the Licky. So now it's going to be that head-to-head matchup. I think one turn ahead for the Furret is going to be played favorably, but the full rollout comes through because of it.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I mean, I don't even know maybe if you should go for Trailblaze here. This is your last Pokemon on the field. Maybe you want to start ramping up, but maybe Hdmv is thinking that if he can just land another Swift with the Sucker Punches, that's going to be enough.
Yeah, Sucker Punch is going to do a lot of that neutral damage. It's such a good move right now in this current meta, as the second Swift is going to be reached. I don't think this is enough to KO, but as Joeddy opts to spend the final shield, he does, knowing that he doesn't want to be in that Sucker Punch range. That makes things pretty awkward because Azumarill does take a little bit longer to get to the moves.
Yeah, and Joeddy, I believe, has 2 body slams here, but Hdmv still has a shield, so Joeddy still needs 2 more charge attacks to finish this game. 1 to knock out the Furret, and of course 1 to take the shield, but there is still a lot of health on the Azumarill. How much energy can you come out of this with? You're getting very low from these bubbles.
Yeah, and now Hdmv actually throws on bad timing. It was actually pretty good because this KO, so you actually don't take that bubble damage, and you get a little bit extra energy. He's only 1 Swift away, and he gets to the second Swift against the Licky. It should be enough to KO. Hdmv a little bit surprised too, trying to see, is it going to be enough? And I believe it is, as he takes the 2-0 victory over Joeddy.
Wow, I have to say it was looking a little